8,000 Hz polling rate on a gaming mouse and keyboard, but only for high-end PCs. Also, Corsair's first and only 60% mechanical keyboard. For those of you guys who are still stuck at home, you're probably itching for an upgrade for your peripherals because GPU prices are still ridiculous as ever. Don't worry, today we'll lend you a hand because we're gonna do a hands-on review on these three brand spanking new peripherals from Corsair to see how they fare. This is Mob House. Don't go anywhere. Wow, much rhyme. So impressed. Subscribe lah, still free. So what we have for you here today is a compilation review on the Corsair Sabre RGB Pro optical gaming mouse, the K70 RGB TKL mechanical gaming keyboard, and this tiny but deadly K65 RGB Mini 60% mechanical gaming keyboard. To those who joined me during the Shopee launch the other day, welcome back, brothers and sisters. I couldn't tell you how I felt about these bad boys back then because I haven't had much time to play with them, but that's all gonna change today. As usual, feel free to follow the timestamps below to skip to any part of the video with information that you're interested in if you have no chill, or you could just kick back and relax and watch the whole thing. It's not like you have anywhere else to be anyways. So yeah, we have quite the haul here today. Both the K70 TKL and the Sabre RGB Pro are actually from Corsair's brand new Champion series designed for competitive players and esports pros in collaboration with some of the biggest names in esports, while the K65 RGB Mini is actually Corsair's first attempt at a 60% mechanical keyboard, which is a little bit confusing for me, but they couldn't exactly call it K60 since there's already a full-size keyboard called K60 that we checked out previously, linked here. As Mob House keeps growing thanks to you guys, I have since developed a taste for the finer things in life. So let's see what these little babies have to offer, because I know that size definitely doesn't matter. Nope, I'm not gonna tell that same joke for the 69th time. What happened to our standards, guys? Standards! Firstly, we have the Sabre RGB Pro, which is Corsair's new entry into the world of light gaming mice. It is 3 times pricier than the Kata Pro wired edition that we checked out previously. And coming from the Champion series, Corsair has packed this with a maximum polling rate of 8,000 Hz, which we are going to talk about in a little while. The Sabre RGB Pro is priced at 255 ringgit or $54.99 US. It comes with a plastic shell that is mostly sleek matte black with a rough textured finish for better grip, except for a fingerprint magnet gloss bar that runs around the mouse and in between the primary buttons. There are 2 RGB zones, a RGB logo at the back, and on the sides of the rubberized scroll wheel. On the left, you'll find the DPI indicator that will give you a visual on which of the 5 presets you're currently running, ranging from 400 to the 200 DPI by default. At the bottom, you'll find 5 100% PTFE glide pads, 4 at the corners and 1 around the sensor. It is pretty well built with not much rattle or squeaks as you use it. In terms of ergonomics, the Sabre RGB Pro is designed for right-handed use only, specifically for palm and grip. As a palm grip user myself, I find this mouse to be pretty comfortable, and the lightweight definitely helps during longer sessions. In terms of dimensions, the mouse is 129mm long, 70mm wide, and 43mm tall, and it only weighs 74 grams for the RGB version and 5 grams lighter at 69 grams for the non-RGB version. It comes with a 2.1 meter long non-detachable paracord cable that feels pretty good with no noticeable drag as you use it, but do use a mouse bungee if you're worried about fraying. In terms of buttons, we have 6 programmable buttons, the right and left primary buttons with Omron switches, 1 clickable scroll wheel, 1 DPI switch behind it, and 2 more on the left. This mouse comes with Corsair's Quick Strike, which is a proprietary tech that is supposed to create a zero gap between the primary buttons and switches, improving the responsiveness and consistency of the clicks. I thought it was all just marketing jargon, but I actually find them to be some of the most satisfying and responsive primary buttons on a gaming mouse yet. Really snappy. So here's the sound test for the Sabre RGB Pro. In terms of specifications, the mouse comes with a PMW3992 18,000 dpi optical sensor with a very low lift-off distance. You just put one coaster distance between it and a table and it will stop tracking. The height is not adjustable though, so you can't really use your own customized glide pads if they are thicker than the default ones. Most FPS and mobile players actually prefer a lower lift-off distance, so that would be perfect for competitive players in CSGO, Valorant, Dota, LOL and such. And finally, we have the max 8000Hz polling rate, which is insane, and I can actually notice a little bit extra smoothness when gaming on my Zowie 240Hz monitor. However, it can only be enabled in iQOO because Corsair thinks that it should only be used for high-end PCs with at least a 2nd gen Ryzen 7 or 9th gen i7. Testing it with our Ryzen 9 5950X, we did notice an increase in CPU usage when toggling between the 1000Hz and 8000Hz polling rate. So if you're a PC noob, just stick to 1000Hz or else upgrade your CPU lor. #cheapbuy. With the most updated iQOO software, you'll be able to customize the 6 programmable buttons, RGB lighting, DPI modes, polling rate, and calibrate your mouse for different surfaces. We're gonna do a deep dive into iQOO soon, so stay tuned if you want to see everything that iQOO can do these days. So here's a summary on the pros, mas, and cons of the Corsair Sabre RGB Pro. I give it a #cheapbuy 9 out of 10 because it's a killer esports mouse that punches way above its weight, but it's only made for bangsawan or ballers like me, or you lah if you are a baller too, you know, baller, round like me. Next, we have this Corsair K70 TKL that is also from the Champion series and comes packed with that crazy 8000Hz maximum polling rate. The K70 RGB TKL is priced at 635 ringgit or $129.99 US. It comes with some extra keycaps specifically for FPS and mobile games, as well as a keycap puller, but they are ABS though, so that's a little bit disappointing, but hey, it's still free. The keyboard comes with a pretty cutting edge #GetIt black anodized aluminum chassis with rounded edges at the front, which has an almost dark gunmetal brushed aluminum finish that is pretty fingerprint resistant. It also has a RGB logo in the middle and a small K70 printed on the bottom left. Overall, it comes with an excellent build quality with no flex. While the left and right edges are quite sharp, they won't actually cut you, so you can chill there. So relax lah bro. And also you're gonna get that perky RGB for those who love disco lights and plain white LED indicators. In terms of dimensions, it is 360mm long, 164mm wide, and 40mm thick. Pretty compact. It also weighs 0.9 kilograms, which is okay I guess given the build quality. It comes with a rather stiff braided cable with a USB-C connection where it connects to the keyboard. I'm not a big fan because it's very hard to get this cable to sit flat on the table when you want to cable manage it. But hey, at least it is removable, which is always a plus in my book. A+, Corsair. At the bottom, we have massive non-slip rubber pads and a pair of single height adjustable feet that are also rubberized to prevent any slippage from nerd rage incidents. I'm talking about you, Calvin. The K70 TKL comes with some very durable and rigid PBT double shot keycaps with a textured finish that feels pretty good to the touch. Like I mentioned in our previous K100 review, I'm loving the new font from Corsair. In terms of switches, this keyboard only comes with Cherry MX Speed Silver or Red. And what we have here is the Speed Silver version, which is a linear switch that is super responsive with a very short actuation distance, actually great for fast-paced gameplay. I would still like to see options of maybe a tactile blue or even a brown switch from Corsair, because when I buy an expensive mechanical keyboard and I tap that, I would like to get some feedback. But seeing that this is a Champion Series keyboard, I do understand their design choice here. Here's a sound test of the K70 RGB TKL. Here are the different function key combos you can flip on the keyboard itself. Why don't you pause and have a read, cause ain't nobody got time for that. At the back, you'll find what Corsair calls the tournament switch. When toggled, it will reset the RGB lighting to the static mode and disable all your custom actions and macros. It even comes with a cover to black out the indicator light in case it annoys people in tournaments. Now let's address the elephant in the room again. the 8000Hz maximum polling rate, made possible with Corsair's Axon hyper-processing technology. By default, it is on 1000Hz, so you'll have to flip the NOS switch in the software. To be honest, moving from 1000Hz to 8000Hz, I didn't feel such a big difference like I did with the mouse earlier. I speculate that unlike with a mouse where the movement of the cursor can actually seem smoother with a higher polling rate, there's very little that would indicate that with a keyboard, making it not very perceivable or necessary. Other than that, we also get 8MB of onboard storage to keep up to 50 onboard profiles for all your macros and RGB, which can be customized with up to 20 lighting layers. This is perfect for players like you who like to get it on with all the games on planet Earth. Gotta catch them all! As long as you don't catch herpes lah. Moving on to the software, make sure that you toggle off the tournament switch and update your IQ to the latest version. In IQ for your K70 TKL, you can customize the key assignments, lighting effects, onboard hardware settings for those two when IQ is not used, performance which lets you choose which of the other keys you want to lock when hitting the Windows lock button, and finally device settings where you can change the polling rate as well as a bunch of other useful options. In terms of user experience, it's no surprise that I'm gonna love this thing because 10 kilos is actually my favorite form factor, but TKL does let you get into this more focused FPS stance with your keyboard and mouse closer together when you game, and it also feels really sturdy and doesn't slip no matter how hard I game on it. I've tested it in games like Valorant and Apex Legends, and it feels really responsive. And finally, the dedicated media keys makes this a blast to use for some Netflix and chillin'. So let me break down the pros, the mess, and the cons of this K70 TKL. I give this a highly recommended 8.5 out of 10. This is one of the most impressive TKL gaming mechanical keyboards out there, especially for competitive gamers. I'm not gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because I think that 8000Hz polling rate in a keyboard is just wasted CPU power, so there's that. But it's still a very good keyboard, so go and buy lah. Wait for what? Finally, we have the K65 RGB Mini, which again is pretty confusing because it's a 60% layout mechanical keyboard from Corsair, and I see this being pretty popular with people who love that 60% form factor but still want all the cool features that come with a mainstream brand like Corsair. The K65 Mini is priced at 475 ringgit or $109.99 US. It comes with some extra keycaps for the escape key and space, as well as a keycap puller. The keyboard comes with a pretty basic but compact black plastic chassis, and though it's not as sturdy as some of the aluminum 60s out there, it is still pretty rigid and well made with minimal flex. The per key RGB is reflected off a white plate, and though pretty common elsewhere, is a first for Corsair, which usually gives us an aluminum plate. Ultimately, we get brighter and more seamless RGB lighting. Random Frank P pointed out that the USB port is just ever so slightly off center, and I can never look at this keyboard the same again. Thanks man, you're a huge help. In terms of dimensions, the keyboard is 290mm long, 105mm wide and 44mm thick. Very small, like a chili padi. And it only weighs 580 grams or 0.58 kilograms. Again, we have that same stiff braided USB-C cable. Just go get one of those custom aviator cables and you'll be set. At the bottom, we have some very tiny non-slip rubber pads and no height adjustable feet. The K65 Mini comes with the same durable and rigid PBT keycaps with a textured finish, and while I love the font on more gaminger keyboards, I would have preferred something a little bit more minimal here. While Corsair do offer them in a variety of different colors, unfortunately it still comes with the same gamer font. I'm also quite sure that the spacebar and Corsair logo keycaps are ABS, but I do like the spacebar with the triangle motif, similar to some of Corsair's newer cases. Hate them or love them, this keyboard only comes with Cherry MX Speed Silver or MX Red, selected mostly for competitive gaming. I think it's a huge missed opportunity from Corsair because I think a lot of people who are non-gamers or casual gamers would actually like to pick up something like this. So having options like tactile switches would be great because not everybody likes a linear switch. But the 8000 Hz polling rate does scream gaming. Something cool to note is that some of these stabilizers are actually looped, except for the space bar for whatever reason. But hey, still a huge step up from previous keyboards because they don't ever loop their stabilizers. Here's a sound test of the K65 RGB Mini. In terms of functions, this is a 60% form factor, so if you're moving from full size or TKL, you're probably panicking right now, but most of the keys you're used to are still there. You just need to tap the function key to toggle a combo, as indicated on the lower side of the keycaps facing you. Onboard RGB control is also available, which is convenient, and here are your options. In terms of specifications, once again we have that same 8000 Hz hyper polling made possible with Corsair's Axon hyper processing technology, which I think feels pretty much the same as the K70 TKL, so you can check out my observations before. But TLDR, it does increase your CPU usage with no perceivable difference. So just stick your polling rate to 1000 Hz and call it a day. Next, we also have that same 8MB of onboard storage to keep up to 50 onboard macro and lighting profiles, yada yada. Outside of gaming, I can actually see this being actually useful for productivity purposes for video editing, 3D modeling and such, especially with a 60% form factor keyboard. In iQOO for the K65 RGB Mini, you get the usual stuff, which is pretty similar to the K70 TKL in this regard. Customizations are in one word: great. In terms of user experience, if you're a 60% form factor fan, then good, you're gonna enjoy this. I'm not such a big fan of the 60% layout because being a gamer and content creator myself, in editing software, I already have a lot of multiple keybinds, so I don't appreciate having to hit the function key every 3 seconds when I want to do something. But I still do enjoy the portability that comes with a keyboard like this for working and gaming on the go, especially when I head off to Computex next year, hopefully. In terms of gaming, it feels really responsive, very similar to the K70 TKL. But in terms of typing experience, it's still decent, but slightly lacking compared to the feel of a full aluminum chassis with the K70 TKL. Here are the pros, mass, and cons of the K65 RGB Mini. I give this a very solid #cheap buy 8 out of 10. It is a pretty decent 60% first entry from Corsair. It looks pretty basic, but it definitely will get the job done. That's all, folks. In conclusion, 8000 Hz polling rate is great for a gaming mouse, but not really worth it for keyboards. But I'm still gonna pick up the K70 TKL because it's one of the best TKL gaming mechanical keyboards that I've tested so far. And leave a comment down below if you have any questions regarding any of these products that we discussed today. To see more content like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And finally, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see more shenanigans from the Mob House crew. And I will see you after the comment section. Firstly, from our Nunlite FS300 review on YouTube. Chikaboom said #cheap buy. He thought he heard something else because he's naughty. Anyways, good job Bangsawan. Maybe you can do review on the panel LED and flexible LED like from Falcon Eyes in the future. For sure, man. If you ask, I will try to find one and review for you to see. Goldfry Senpai said, thank you for the info, gotta check them out. Also, he's quite happy with their Nunlite products, correct? Because I'm also pretty happy with my Nunlite products. On Facebook, Timothy John asked, why is this shot in? We shot it with the A7S3 and then it's lit with the FS300 at 1%. Crazy, you know, 1%. So bright indeed. Isaac Shamsuddin asked, Nunlite or Amaranth? I think it depends on your wattage, because if you go 300 watt, then I think that you should go with the FS300. But Amaranth does have app though. Next, for the YouTube network switch explained technically. Kudin Afik said that he loved our video. Can we make a video explaining NAS storage, RAID 1, RAID 2, this station, etc? Well, the NAS storage video we already did previously, but we're gonna explain RAID 1, RAID 2, RAID all the RAID for you, because you know what? You are a RAIDist. Jokes aside, it's a very good topic. Okay, we're already planning for you. Very special one. Huri-san! I'm not gonna read your name the way you intended it to be. Yes, please, explain the differences between modem router, their cousins, Mark, Nene, all. Can. For you, I will explain. But you change your name, Your name very naughty, On Facebook, Jeremy Tan said that he as a student in cybersecurity rates this video 100 over 100. It can be his revision before the final. Thank you very much, bro. We are here to educate and I'm glad that you are getting your education. Edward Pascal said that he enjoyed watching this while eating his breakfast. Good, bro, because breakfast is the meal for champions. Baka Jelly says, notice me, senpai. Okay, I notice you already. What now? What you want? What you want?